Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Yolanda from Class A. Honorable to my lecturer, Mr. Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, and dear all of my friends in this classroom. Okay, in this occasion, I will explain and describe about my lesson plan, an innovative ICT-based lesson plan. Since technology is becoming as an integral part of our lives, it has been considered as the crucial key in the learning activities. Today's students, immersed in technology from a very early age, they have spent their daily life using computers, smartphones, and also digital media. Therefore, as a good method for them to be engaged in education, the integration of technology into learning environments and teaching contexts has been taken into consideration. It can build it can build the learner autonomy, and the learner autonomy means that the students can take control of their learning through their use of ICT. In this way, they become more capable of working by themselves and also with their peer works. As the teacher, I have to design a suitable lesson plan which justify the ICT as the teaching guideline. So in this case, I will explain about the elements of the project report. The first one is utilize ICT in the lesson plan. The second one is the justification of using ICT in the lesson plan and also the relevance of the ICT in this lesson plan. ICT in the learning. The characteristics of innovative learning designs are marked by the application in new elements of 21st century learning, such as integrating ICT. It is stated by Miyasu in 2019. And then, the innovative lesson plan, however, in this case, are interpreted as activities to prepare for implementation of learning that apply latest learning elements in the 21st century and are integrated in the components of learning stage that will be carried out to achieve the predominant goals. And then, the lesson plan itself is a systematic process to translate the learning and learning principles into the guidelines for learning materials and also the activities. The approach in this lesson plan is based on the scientific approach, which is consists of observing, questioning, collecting, associating, and also communicating. An innovative lesson plan, however, in this case, are interpret activities to prepare for the implementation of learning that apply in the lesson learning. The justification is in choosing the media is based on the consideration below. The first one is the learning context, learner characteristics, learner tasks, media attributes, instructional management, grouping strategy, and also the course effectiveness. But in this lesson plan, I highlight three important points. The first one is learning material, the learning context, learning characteristic, and also the cause of effectiveness. Okay, the lesson plan consists of three part. The first one is the learning objective. The second one is learning activities, and the last one is the assessment. The learning activities will the first part in the lesson plan. There are two learning objectives on this lesson plan. The first, through watching the video and observing example of manual text, students are expected to be able to analyze social functions, text structure, and linguistic elements for several oral and written procedural texts. And the second one, after observing several examples of manual text, students are expected to be able to grasp contextual meanings related to the social function, text structure, linguistic elements of oral and written procedural text, very short and simple in accurate manual forms. So, in this lesson plan, I use procedure text manual as the sub material. Then, in the application, of course, I will use the ICT media since since we are in the pandemic situation, I have designed the lesson plan based on the newest lesson plan format, which is recommended by the Ministry Education. The ACD in here, I use learning activities are carried out through Google, through Zoom, WhatsApp, YouTube, Google Form, and also PowerPoint. Zoom facilitates the process of starting, joining, and collaborating with others across various devices through its comprehensive communication platform. In general, Zoom is the main media in this learning. Since it is asynchronous learning, the Zoom is used as the main media. The second one is using WhatsApp. WhatsApp has potential ubiquitous and collaborative learning, increase student social interactivity, and is favorable for the learning. And the next, the YouTube. YouTube has potential to connect learner with authentic English input. The fourth one, I will use Google Form. The Google Form in this lesson is used to check the attendance of the students in the preliminary activities and to give any kind of task in the learning activities and also in the assessment. The last, PowerPoint is designed to deliver the lesson via Zoom. As I stated before, the material used in this lesson is procedure text manual, which is applied and will be teaching in for the ninth grader of senior high school students. Here is the outline of the learning activities. The first, the pre-test. Before going to the topic or to the core of material, I will give the pre-test in the first learning activities. And the second learning activities about the manual, and in the last, the post-test will be applied. And also the assessment, there are two kind of assessment in this learning. The first one is assessment of learning, and the second one, assessment as learning. Let's see the learning activities. The learning activities are carried out through WhatsApp group, Google Form, Zoom, and also Google Form and also the PowerPoint. Based on the lesson plan in here, the learning activities, which consists of preliminary activities, the core activities, and the closing activities. And the preliminary activities also using with WhatsApp group, Zoom, and also the Google Form. The Google WhatsApp group in the form of the students to link Zoom in the form of student about the schedule is used to inform about the student schedule via WhatsApp group and sending the link of the media and also to share the module that can be read by the student before the lesson is started. Then the teacher also utilize Google Form in order to check the attendance of students to give any kind of task. In these preliminary activities, the first one, the teacher and student give and answer greetings via the Zoom, and the students are asked by the teacher to fill in the attendance list via the Google Form link that has been prepared by the teacher before the lesson. And then it is still about the learning activities. In the core activities, still using WhatsApp group, Zoom, and also the Google Form. Since the lesson plan is designed in 2013 curriculum, it is of course applied scientific approach in its application. It is signed by there is some of justification in here. Observing, associating is the example of applying a scientific approach in this lesson. In the core activities, the student observe the manual text image. In the first one, the student observe the manual text image and also watch the video which present by the teacher via YouTube video. Thus, the student can click the link that has been sent to the WhatsApp group. The link automatically relate to the YouTube video. And as in associating activity, discovery data processing, the student work in their worksheet on manual text on the Google form, which is linked and sent by the teacher via WhatsApp group. So directly the student can access the Google form and answer the worksheet. And the closing activities is still using Google Form. It is the learning activities in here is discovery or generalization. Student and teacher reflect the subject matter that has not been understood. The student analyze the strengths and the weakness of learning activities. The student and teachers conclude the learning outcomes. And the last, the teacher provide the formative test to the student via the Google form, which has been delivered in the WhatsApp group. Okay, then the last step is assessment. The assessment itself is provided in the form of formative tests, which given in the Google form because it is easy to access and it can be used in all type of online learning as stated by Nevin in 2009. The Google Form link is sent via WhatsApp group and the student can access it in their cell phones or personal computer. The data from the Google Form is collected in a Google spreadsheet, which allow for further analysis by the teacher. Google Form also offers a summary responses for feature and creates visual representation of the closed-ended question, for example. So after the student doing the exercise, directly the teacher can check the result of the student achievement. Okay, here is I also put the link of the example of attendance links in the form of Google Form and also pre-test of manual in Google Form and the first one in the first activities there is stimulation which show application in the YouTube. Let's see the example. Okay, here is the example of the Google Form of the attendance list. The teacher can access how to make the attendance list via Google Form in the internet. And we back to the presentation. And the second one is still in the Google Form, the pretest of manual. It can be shown in this video. The pretest of manual. The student can write the name in here. They can choose the class, and after that, for example, the name is here is, and they can choose the class, for example, 9.2, and just click the next. Then the question will be appear in their screen. And then in the simulation there is YouTube channel in here. The YouTube is used to stimulate the students before going to the topic that will be explained by the teacher. Thus, by using the simulation or stimulation by YouTube, it hopes that the students will be interested in the learning process. Let's go to the conclusion. The lesson plan has been designed by considering ICT justification in online learning. It is based on the theory from Huddleston and Pike, which consists of 7 considerations in choosing the suitable media for online learning. And the lesson plan consists of learning objective, learning activities, and also the assessment. All of the activities in the lesson plan will be applied via online learning and by using Zoom as the core media, and also WhatsApp group, Google Form to give the to check the student attendance list and also to collect the student answers yet. And also using PowerPoint as the basic presentation in here. In the application, the teacher use ICT platforms such as WhatsApp group, PowerPoint, Zoom, and also Google Form and as the learning media. Okay, that's all from my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.